In a moment, you will receive 10 phrases, not motivational lines designed to make you feel good for 5 minutes and then evaporate. These are inner anchors, internal formulas, tools that, when practiced daily, quietly strengthen your consciousness, stopping the noise, rooting the calm, building the kind of clarity and mental stability that holds even when everything around you does not. This is not a one-time fix, it is a daily practice. But each formula is a step toward greater resilience, sharper focus, and a more genuine relationship with the strength that already lives inside you. Before we begin, I want you to do one thing. Go to the comments and write this phrase. I program my own mind. I choose who I become each day. This is not just a comment. It is an action for yourself. When you write it, you are planting something in your consciousness. You are beginning to reprogram yourself from this moment forward. That phrase, repeated and affirmed, will settle into your subconscious. And when the right moment comes, the difficult moment, the moment of doubt, it will be your anchor. Now, let's begin. Formula 1. I govern my mind. I do not let it govern me. Your mind is a powerful instrument, but that is precisely where the danger lies. An instrument left unsupervised starts to run on its own. The mind creates, but it can also destroy. It can search for solutions, or scan endlessly for threat. It can move you forward, or pull you backward into old wounds, old fears, old self-doubt. Far too often, people allow the mind to be the master. They believe every thought that appears, I can't. This is too hard. I'm not needed. And that is the trap. Marcus Aurelius wrote, your life is shaped by your thoughts. This means you are not what happens to you. You are what you think about what happens to you. When a thought arrives, you have a choice. Believe it or examine it, or leave it or replace it. This formula sounds simple, but it is foundational. When you repeat it, you reclaim command. You remind yourself that not every thought is a truth. Not every feeling is a directive. Not every interpretation is reality. Practice observing. When you catch a wave of negativity, fear, or irritation, do not rush to react. Give yourself a few seconds of quiet. Look at the thought not as a command, but as a hypothesis. Not as a fact, but as a suggestion. And in that moment, return to the formula. I govern my mind. I do not let it govern me. Over time, this becomes a shield, a filter. You will not stop the flow of thoughts, but you will learn to choose which ones deserve your attention. And that is one of the most significant inner victories you will ever win. Formula 2. What I feel is not who I am. Most people identify completely with their emotions. They say, I am devastated, I lost myself, I am weak. But the truth is that you are not your emotion. You are the one experiencing it. This is the distinction that changes everything. Anger, fear, anxiety, hurt. These are like clouds passing through the sky. They arrive. They are dense. They create darkness. But you are not the cloud. You are the sky. The cloud is temporary. You are not. The Stoics did not war against their emotions. They did not perform forced positivity. They practiced not identifying with what was passing through them. An emotion is a signal, but not a definition. It is an experience, but not a verdict. When something difficult rises in you, do not press it down. But do not believe it is your entire self either. Say, I am feeling anxiety right now, but I am not anxiety. I am feeling disappointment, but I am not disappointment. This returns you to the position of observer, and from that position you always have more freedom. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." This applies not only to events, but to the emotional states we assign to ourselves. When you forget that a feeling is temporary, it begins to feel total and permanent. Repeat the formula, "What I feel is not who I am." That distance is the space for choice, for calm, for action without the weight of unnecessary pressure. Formula 3. What I can control is mine. Everything else is not. The modern world makes it very easy to lose the boundary between what is genuinely within your power and what is not. Every day you encounter events, people, and situations that do not match your expectations. And the first instinct is to try to change the external, to convince, to force, to arrange. But every time you spend energy on what is not subject to your control, you weaken. This is where Stoicism reveals its greatest strength. Epictetus taught, "Divide the world into two parts, what depends on you and what does not. Direct all your attention, all your will, all your action toward the first." You cannot control what another person thinks, but you can control how you respond. You cannot control circumstances, but you can choose your position within them. This is not indifference, it is focus. Because when you stop clinging to what is uncontrollable, space opens up. And in that space, peace becomes available. Repeat this formula when something disappoints you. What I can control is mine. Everything else is not. This is not surrender. It is wisdom. It is inner order. It is the way to act without losing your dignity. And genuine freedom lives not in controlling the world, but in governing yourself within that world. Formula 4. I do not need to be perfect. I need to be honest with myself. One of the deepest traps in personal development is the need to be perfect, to be always calm, always confident, always composed. And when that illusion breaks, the person does not just feel disappointed. They begin to devalue themselves. But Stoicism never taught perfection. It taught honesty. Honesty about your intentions. Honesty in your work on yourself. The willingness to see things as they are, without masks, without performance. You are not required to be your best self every single day. You are required to be real, sometimes tired, sometimes confused, but always honest in your self-examination. This means not hiding your emotions, not running from your limitations, not constructing an image you do not believe in yourself. It means remaining true to what genuinely matters to you, even when it is difficult. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be what nature created you to be, thoughtful, attentive, just." Not one word about perfection, only the path. Repeat the formula. I do not need to be perfect. I need to be honest with myself. Because real transformation begins from this honesty, not from the pressure to appear flawless. Formula 5. Everything that happens, happens for me, not against me. In a moment of difficulty, this thought can seem completely implausible. When you face injustice, loss, or pain, the first instinct is, why is this happening to me? The mind searches for someone to blame, and it is very easy in that moment to settle into the identity of someone the world is conspiring against. But Stoicism offers a different perspective. Not everything is good, but everything is useful. Not everything is pleasant, but everything is formative. Every experience that enters your life is an opportunity, not to make you comfortable, to make you grow. When you look at what happens through this lens, you recover your authority. You can suffer and simultaneously be strengthening your character. You can lose and simultaneously be clearing away what was no longer serving you. You can end up in crisis and find there, in that exact place, your truest self. Seneca wrote, "The obstacle to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is not poetry. It is a working instruction. Life is not against you. It is with you. And every situation, even the most painful, is not accidental. It arrives for you as a test, as a mirror, as a challenge precisely calibrated for your current moment. Repeat this formula daily, especially when you want to give up. Everything that happens, happens for me, not against me. And even pain will transform into a teacher. Formula 6. I choose action, not complaint. Complaining is easy. The world is imperfect. People disappoint. Plans fall through. Results do not always arrive on time. And the mind, searching for relief, reaches for justification, for blame, for indignation. But no complaint has ever changed reality. No grievance has ever brought a person closer to a solution. It only consumes energy, leaving behind a feeling of helplessness and building the habit of responding to difficulty with weakness rather than movement. The Stoics trained themselves to think like warriors, not like victims. Not because strength must be maintained at any cost, but because action is always the path forward. Even if the action is small, even if it is internal. You may not be able to influence everything, but you always have a choice. Keep complaining or take one step. When you want to stop and drown in resentment, ask yourself, what can I do right now? Even something minimal, even just focusing on your breathing, because every action is a turn toward responsibility. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not waste time arguing about what a good person should look like. Be one." This means stop explaining why you cannot do what you can. The formula is simple and powerful. I choose action, not complaint. When this becomes your inner rule, strength will always be nearby. Formula 7. What I do today shapes who I am tomorrow. Many people wait for change. They wait for a better moment, for inspiration, for ideal conditions. And in the meantime, repeat the same actions day after day. Actions that do not bring them closer, but push them further. Not because they are building something, but because they are hollowing themselves out. But the future is not fiction. It begins here, not tomorrow, not on Monday, but in your habits, your decisions, your words, your thoughts today. Stoicism does not encourage daydreaming. It trains accountability. The daily question: does this action form me or scatter me? Does this thought strengthen me or diminish me? You can speak about large goals, but if every day you choose comfort over effort, procrastination over clarity, complaint over movement, you are unconsciously building a very different version of yourself than the one you intended. And conversely, even the smallest action taken with genuine awareness lays the foundation. No perfect plan is needed. Consistency is needed. Respect for this particular day, because this day, not some future day, is creating you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Look at your life. It is the result of your actions." If that is true, then every single day carries weight. Repeat the formula. What I do today shapes who I am tomorrow. This keeps you focused. It does not allow you to drift too long, and it returns your strength to the present moment, where it has always belonged. Formula 8. My response matters more than the circumstance. Life offers no guarantees. Circumstances can shift at any moment. People disappoint. Plans break. The world behaves in ways you would not choose. But in every situation, one thing always remains that belongs only to you: your response. That response is what reveals who you are. Not the situation, not the difficulty, but how you answer it. Stoicism does not promise control over life. It offers control over yourself within any life. And that is the key. Two people can experience the same thing, and one emerges stronger, the other bitter. The difference is not in the event. The difference is in the internal decision about how to receive it. When something goes wrong, you can react with anger, flight, or blame. Or you can pause, accept, and act with clarity. The power lives in choosing that second response. Epictetus said, "It is not the event that disturbs a person, it is their judgment of the event." The situation itself does not create the emotion. The way you interpret it does. It is worth repeating this. My response matters more than the circumstance, because events arrive and depart. But who you became inside them remains with you forever. Formula 9. I allow myself to move slowly, but I never allow myself to stop. The modern pace demands speed. Faster means better. More mean more successful. And inside that race, it becomes easy to begin condemning your own slowness. Asking yourself, why am I not keeping up? Why am I not where I want to be? But the truth is that development is not a sprint, it is a path. And what matters in it is not speed, it is consistency. Because even the smallest step, taken every day, travels further than bursts that end in exhaustion. The Stoics valued rhythm. They did not pursue instant results. They pursued inner stability. And stability is not born in urgency. It forms through repetition, through discipline, through endurance. You can move slowly, but move. You can make mistakes and continue. You can fall and rise with the same intention. If you are moving, you are alive. If you have stopped, everything freezes. Repeat this in moments of doubt. I allow myself to move slowly, but I never allow myself to stop. This is the formula for endurance. And endurance, far more than talent or luck, is what builds genuine progress. Formula 10. I am grateful, not for everything, but in spite of everything. Gratitude is not about circumstances, it is about a position, because being grateful when everything is fine is easy. But it is precisely in the difficult periods that the genuinely deep inner foundation reveals itself. When the day is not what you hoped, when you lose something, make a mistake, hear no, or face silence where you needed support. Stoicism does not ask you to deny pain. It teaches you to find value even inside what is painful. Because if you see only the loss, you close yourself. But if you see the lesson, you grow. Gratitude in spite of everything is not weakness. It is a strength that does not depend on forecasts, news, or other people's moods. It is the choice not to become bitter, the choice to remain human, even when the world does not seem to owe you anything. Seneca wrote, "Life is not short. We make it short ourselves." Gratitude is the way of not letting life pass unnoticed. It is the way of feeling that even in the most difficult day, there are things worth living for. Repeat this formula as an anchor. I am grateful, not for everything, but in spite of everything. Because when you give thanks not for the ideal, but for what is present and real, you recover the strength to be fully here, right now. And that is everything. These 10 formulas are not a list for reading. They are a direction, a daily inner mode that you activate each morning. Not to create the illusion of control, but to remember, the strength is already inside you. Life will not become perfect. People will not change overnight. The world will not become simpler. But you will be able to remain calm in the chaos, composed in the scatter, steady in the instability. And that is precisely why these formulas work. Not because they change everything, but because they help you remain yourself when everything else is changing. Return to them tomorrow and the day after. You do not need to practice all 10 at once. One that resonates with where you are right now is enough. That is already a step. That is already an action. If something in this video was valuable to you, share it in the comments. Write which formula has become yours, which one landed, which one will stay with you. And if you want to support this channel, subscribe. Your engagement helps this content reach the people who are ready for exactly these words. Thank you for your attention, your depth, and for continuing your path with us. May there be peace, and may there be strength from within. See you in the next one.